Hey class, welcome to week 6. I hope you're doing great. Off to a great start on this Monday. Dr. Doug Brown here. Excited. We only have a couple weeks of the class left. If you have not had time to take a look at the final assignment, please do that now. I want to make sure that you're prepared. Take a look at the announcements, examples that I've shared with you in the announcements on what your written paper should look like, citations, headers, etc. That follow APA. Make sure you have those in there, as I've shared with you in the past in the class. I've been fairly lenient, but on the final, all bets are off. It all counts. So make sure you take a look at those examples, feedback that I've given you in the papers and the discussions, etc., and use that. I will scrutinize the final more closely in comparison to what I've done with the other assignment. So only a couple weeks left. Week 6, what are we doing? We are taking the information that we've used thus far in the class on foodborne outbreaks and illnesses, diseases, focusing more on biological terrorism again this week. We've talked about that in the past. We're taking a look at Brucella. So what is Brucella? Brucella is pretty common. It's found on farms. It's a zoonotic disease, meaning that it's connected to animals. It is highly transmittable, transferable from animals to humans, sheep, goats, cattle, especially pigs, any animal. We saw in the past, 20, 30, 40 years ago, it was pretty common for farm workers, farm families, because there were so many small families, small farming families, I should say, pretty common for this to go through a family. Someone would get sick, and then it would be passed along. Just like anthrax, we have cutaneous anthrax that's on the skin. It's passed along. We see that still occasionally you'll see that with a rancher. They'll get anthrax on their hands. It's easily treatable. Just use an antibiotic cream or something to that effect. We don't see brucellosis so much anymore. Brucella, as it's commonly known, we don't see this very often anymore. It's pretty much been eradicated in the United States, Canada, in many industrialized countries, just like the UK. But it's still pretty prominent in the Arab countries and the South African countries, simply because they do not get the veterinarian services are there. They don't get the treatment for the animals that we do here. So it's not so common to have veterinarians there to provide treatment, those inoculations, and it's pretty easily treated, with just simply just inoculating the different animals, and that's why it's been pretty much we don't have a problem with it here. No more outbreaks. Pretty much, it's been eradicated I think that's the word I'm looking for. Eradicated in the United States, Canada, and the UK and the other Western countries. Veterinarians still test for it. Still test for it here. Matter of fact, on occasion, a veterinarian actually is involved with that, has an outbreak. They stick themselves with the needle when they are inoculating the cow, the sheep, whatever, the horse. So it does happen occasionally. So our question this week is it good as a biological? Can we use it? Can a terrorist use it as a biological agent? The answer to that is yes. It's common. It is easy to get a hold of. If a terrorist were able to develop this in the lab, was using some good lab techniques, they obviously could actually spread this easily, especially airborne. And that's why it's easy to use as a biological. The problem with Brucella is, from a biological terrorism standpoint, is that although it is easy to get a hold of and weaponize, the problem is it's treatable. very low level, first level drugs, antibiotics can treat it. Give a course of those for just a handful of days, a few weeks. If it's really bad, supportive treatment with IVs, etc., oxygen, in a course of 4 to 7 weeks. However, just basic doxycycline pretty much will treat an outbreak. So that's one of the problems of biological terrorism. It's easily spotted, it's easily identified in a lab. Veterinarians can test for it in pretty much in the field. They'll draw blood, and those samples will be taken back to the office, and you don't even need a level A or a biosafety lab to do it. You just need biosafety lab level 3 to do it. So it doesn't even have to be the top level. We just need to make sure that the precautions are taken and in the field, and then it can be taken back to the lab. Okay, so moving on this week, share your thoughts on the outbreak bioterrorism. Share your thoughts on the different labs where testing is conducted. We have a little discussion this week on the lab safety network. If there is a suspected outbreak, an agent, I've shared with you in the past, just like the ricin incident we have here, that's tested in the field. Field tested, in this case it was tested by the civil support team, and then sent to our Department of Health, which is in the lab safety network. It was tested there at bio level 2. Bio safety level 2 was tested there, sent to the CDC for confirmation. And so just take a look, share those thoughts with your with me on those different lab levels and how that safety network works. And there should be pretty much information there on Sentinel Laboratories for you to look at. Look at the final, as I mentioned. If you have any questions, let me know. And I look forward to discussing the whole thing with you this weekend. Our discussions, look forward to that. Look forward to looking at your papers. I'll share a lot of information. We should have a good week. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great week.